One of my favorite horror movie franchises is Child's Play. Since the very first movie released in 1988, I've been a huge fan of Chucky, including the now cancelled TV show. So, to show my appreciation for the killer doll himself, on today's episode of Nerd Space Horror, I'll be giving you guys the top 10 Chucky kills in Child's Play. From the original Child's Play movie all the way up to the reboot film, we'll be taking a look at every single film of the franchise as I locate the best of the best kills. However, I won't be including the kills from the TV show. But if you want to see a separate ranking video on the TV show alone, then hit up the comments and let me know. Also, I'm sure this is pretty obvious, but I'm only including kills done by Chucky himself, meaning that any kills from Tiffany or any other character won't count for today's list. But if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel if you're a fan of horror movies. I usually do ranking videos twice a month on horror movies, and I plan on increasing the number as time goes on and this channel grows. Also, if you enjoyed today's topic, then don't forget to leave a like on today's video. Anyway, my name is Ruben with Nerd Space Horror, and this is the top 10 Chucky kills in Child's Play. Let's get it. So, after the events of the first two movies, Sullivan wants to redeem the Playpal's name by reviving the good guy doll once again. Like, that was such a great idea in the last movie, right? Anyway, the dumbasses at the top of the company thinks that it would be a great idea to use the recycled parts from the same factory where Chucky died to create the first good guy doll. Well, this actually mixes Chucky's blood with plastic and ends up reviving our favorite killer doll once again. Sullivan, head of Playpals, brings it to his office only to then face off against his very own Frankenstein's monster in the form of a kid's good guy doll. What's iconic about this kill is that Chucky actively toys with Sullivan by using his very own creations against him. Pun intended, since he does use toys to kill him. First tripping him with marbles, then teasing him with other good guy dolls. This is followed by darts to his back and hand and a golf club strike to his head. Finally, Chucky finishes this long, drawn-out kill by strangling him with a yo-yo. Like, damn, Chucky. This is the guy that brought you back to life. You know, you could have just killed him fast and be done with it.
Don't fuck with the Chuck.
Number 9, Claire, Cult of Chucky. Even though this scene is a recreation of a double kill by Tiffany and Bride of Chucky, this version was both more brutal to watch and actually done by the hands of Chucky himself. Before Chucky carries out the deed though, you gotta give the assist to that piece of shit Dr. Foley. Despicable man for multiple reasons, but in this specific situation he drugs Claire thinking that she is a harm to herself when she accuses Chucky of biting her. After sedating her, he's called away and Chucky takes this opportunity to kill a completely defenseless Claire. Chucky takes a nearby oxygen tank and shoots it up through a window on the ceiling, sending shattered glass down onto Claire, decapitating her and slicing her into pieces. Ouch.
Sometimes I scare myself.
Number 8, Factory Worker, Child's Play 2. While it's one of the fastest kills on this list, the death of the factory worker in Child's Play 2 is easily one of the most unique kills of the series. After Kyle and Andy lose Chucky in the good guy doll factory, one of the workers realizes that the assembly line is malfunctioning and sets out to figure out what the problem is. After identifying the issue, he begins to fix the assembly line, but he does so in possibly the most unsafe way I have ever seen. After fixing the issue, he gets back up just in time for Chucky to send his ass right back down in time for his eyes to be replaced by doll eyes. Nice. Number 7, Kincaid, Bride of Chucky. It feels a bit wrong giving Chucky credit for this kill since it was Tiffany's plan, but the fact of the matter is that it was Chucky that carried out both the initial blow and the final kill shot later in the movie. Anyway, as Officer Dickwad is planting drugs in the van to frame Jesse, Tiffany and Chucky set up the dashboard with nails. Then, as Kincaid moves closer to examine the dolls, on Tiffany's signal, Chucky activates their trap and sends the nails flying at Kincaid, turning him into Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Why does that look so familiar?
They think he's dead and hides his body, but later in the movie, he wakes up and Chucky has to kill him the old-fashioned way.
A true classic never goes out of style.
Number 6, Father Frank, Curse of Chucky. One of my favorite sequences in Curse of Chucky is the entire scene leading up to the death of Father Frank. After Father Frank agrees to join the Pierce family for dinner, Chucky ends up adding his own secret ingredient to the dish, rat poison. What's interesting about this situation though is that he only adds rat poison to a single serving, meaning we get to watch and wait as we slowly learn which one of these poor suckers won the unluckiest lottery ever. Obviously, that turned out to be Father Frank. It doesn't end there though, because the rat poison didn't kill him itself, but rather caused him to wreck his car on his way home, and man, that was one hell of a wreck. Number 5, Gabe, Child's Play 2019. The 2019 reboot of Child's Play gets a lot of heat due to the lack of Brad Dourif as Chucky and the fact that Chucky was depicted as an AI-controlled robot instead of the possessed toy doll that we all fell in love with. Still, I don't think the movie is nearly as bad as some people claim it is. In fact, one of the things that this movie does right are the kills. Take Gabe's death for example. This perverted electrician finds Chucky in the trash and fixes him as he plans on selling him on eBay. In doing so, Chucky is able to connect to the building system while Gabe is distracted. Then Chucky begins to slice him up a bit before Gabe ends up on a buzzsaw table. Realizing that Chucky is about to activate the buzzsaw, Gabe jumps up and grabs the pipe to hold himself up. That's when Chucky begins to turn up the temperature on the pipes to burn Gabe's hands, leading him to letting go and falling directly on the buzzsaw.
Time to open you up. Let's see what we're dealing with.
Number 4, Dr. Ardmore, Child's Play. Perhaps one of the most intense and brutal kills to watch is the death of Dr. Ardmore. As Andy's psychiatrist, Dr. Ardmore finds Andy after he escapes from his room and attempts to sedate him. Before he could though, Chucky shows up and stabs him in the back of his leg. From here, Chucky grabs the electrical helmet and attaches it to Dr. Ardmore's head. Then he activates the shock therapy machine, and what we see is one of the most brutal kills of the franchise. Dr. Ardmore is slowly fried again and again until he starts bleeding from his eyes and his mouth before finally being completely fried to death. Not gonna lie though, it's hard to be completely distraught by his brutal death when you have the cutest fucking kid ever telling Chucky to stop as he falls over. You're adorable, Andy. Please don't ever grow up.
Play with this.
Andy!
God damn it. Number 3, Miss Kettlewell, Child's Play 2. Okay, so definitely Teacher of the Year here, right folks? After locking poor Andy in a classroom, alone with Chucky locked up in the closet nearby, Miss Kettlewell later returns to the classroom to find Andy gone and someone banging on the closet door. Assuming it was Andy, Miss Kettlewell unlocks the closet door and looks around it before being stabbed by an air pump by, well, Chucky of course. This is then followed up with Chucky walking towards Miss Kettlewell with a yardstick saying that she's been very naughty, which by the way, kind of agree with Chucky here.
You've been very naughty, Miss Kettlewell.
What follows is multiple strikes with the yardstick in which Miss Kettlewell is beaten to death with a yardstick. Like for fuck's sake, beaten to death by a yardstick. Can you imagine how long and how painful that death must have been? Number 2, John, Child's Play. Despite being a possessed doll, most of Chucky's kills are usually more practical and less supernatural. Yeah, if you go all the way back to the first movie, you'll see that there was one death that was all dark magic. After tracking down the voodoo instructor that taught Chucky everything he knows about voodoo, John Bishop unfortunately meets a truly horrifying fate. For whatever reason, John Bishop created a voodoo doll of himself because that totally makes sense. What's worse is that he even told Charles Lee Ray years prior where he hides said voodoo doll. That's 2 strikes now, John. His final strike comes when he literally refuses to give a known serial killer the information that he wants and basically tells him to go fuck himself. Yeah, that's 3, John. I think you're out of here. Chucky pulls out John's voodoo doll and begins to torture him for the information that he wants. When he finally gets it, he stabs the voodoo doll in the heart, which essentially kills poor John.
Shouldn't tell your customers where you hide things like this, John. Gets you in trouble every time.
Number 1, Shane, Child's Play 2019. Yeah, so I'm kinda expecting a lot of hate by putting an entry from the 2019 reboot of Child's Play in the number 1 spot. But what can I say? This death has it all. Watching a complete douchebag get what he deserves? Check. Getting one of the most creative and longest kills of the franchise? Check. Clever one-liner from Chucky before he makes the kill? Check.
This is for Tupac.
You really couldn't ask for more with this kill. It starts with Chucky knocking Shane off of the ladder, in which he gets Christmas lights wrapped around him and breaks his leg from the fall. Then a completely defenseless Shane lies in the yard screaming as Chucky activates the tiller. Which, I'm gonna be completely honest guys, I actually didn't know what this thing was called. I thought it was a lawnmower when I first saw it. Shows how much I know about yard work. Just before it gets him though, Shane holds it back at the last moment, and then Chucky jumps on him, causing Shane to let go of the tiller and completely annihilating his head. But Chucky isn't done yet, because he thinks it's totally fine to just start stabbing the fuck out of Shane multiple times before slicing his face off and attaching it to a watermelon as a gift for his best buddy in the world, Andy. That's one hell of a gift, Chucky. But that does it for this episode of Nerd Space Horror. Hit up the comments and let me know what you think of my list. Is Shane's death in the 2019 reboot of Child's Play the best Chucky kill, or is there a different kill that deserves that title? Let me know down below. Anyway, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for more horror movie content. Also, hit that like if you really enjoyed today's topic. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Nerd Space Horror. Take care.